Howdy, everyone. Okay, I couldn't have come up with this if I tried. I'm such a kid. Well, there you go. That's how much science we collected. If you guessed that, then you got it. Oh, yeah, 365.8 science earned. It gave us 420 total. Now, we covered a few parts, which to help out with our funds. And Bob advanced a level, which is really nice. When your science Kerman advanced levels, oh, pardon me, your science Kerman advanced levels, they get a better return on their science. So yeah, world first milestones. We escaped the gravity of the moon, returned from a flyby of the moon, and returned home. All great things. We explored the moon, and because of that, yeah, and there we go. So, okay. So yeah, we're sitting a big chunk of science from that flyby, and we have quite a bit of funds to work with. The next one that we're gonna have come up is going to be attempting a landing, or we could stage one. It's up to you. Walking on the surface of the moon is the next logical step. Okay, so we need to walk on the surface of the moon. We don't need. You can't just land a probe on it. With that said, you're now going to end up with a lot more money offered. So these particular ones want to do flyby for the moon for your tourist stuff. So you can now get a lot more funds that way for getting your tourist stuff. You also will get, now that we do EVAs and that on the moon, we can collect surface samples and as well as special moonstones. Those do give quite a bit of a chunk of change for completing them. Yeah. So our next step is to work on landing on the moon. And we'll also go ahead and grab this one. We want to plant a flag on the moon. And we'll go ahead and grab this moon rock. Hopefully we can get that one. Sometimes the rocks are really hard to find. Okay. So we got even more money now. I'm going to go ahead and spend a little bit of that on the VAB. So that will give us, we won't be limited to 30 parts. We can go up to 255 parts. Yeah, we are good there. We don't need to do any more here. We did, we got flight planning. We could optionally do this one, which allows the maneuver tool to be available. I don't know that we necessarily need that quite yet. We do need, we probably need to do this one, which allows us to collect surface samples. So we'll go ahead and spend our money on that. All right, so we need to spend our science. I'm going to go ahead and finish out the general construction. That'll be the next one we do. You have a couple of options at this point, depending on what your style of rocketry is. I tend to build smaller rockets, but also take a lot less stuff into space with me, so I don't do a lot of heavy rocketry. If you're into probes a lot, the Spark and some of these tanks are pretty useful. Advanced Constructions has fairings, and I am going to grab that because we want to um, we want to be able to cover up our landing module. Speaking of landing modules, you can land on the microstruts fairly easy on the moon. It's even easier on Mimas, but the LT1 landing strut can take a lot more force. So if you're prone to landing pretty hard, go ahead and grab that one, which I did. Advanced flight controls gives you RCS. Definitely are going to want that. And then we've got one more option here, space exploration. That will give you EVA repair kits, the hitchhiker storage container, which is pretty nice, as well as the experimental control station, some rover wheels. So a couple of options there. Miniaturization gives you one of the, and these are the breaking ground stuff. So, but you have the ED monitor and the EVA experiment kits, more decouplers, as well as adapters, and then the docking port. We kind of skipped over this, but if you're doing a lot of tourists, especially if you're doing the orbital ones and the suborbital, this inline cockpit is really handy. So that may be where you want to spend these last 90 points there. I'm going to go ahead and do decisions. I'm going to go ahead and do miniaturization, I think. Howdy, everyone. This is Editing Grakef. So I've split this section up. We're going to need to build a lander here, and it's going to take a little bit to do that. I go through building subassemblies. If you'd like me to do a smaller portion just for that, let me know. But yeah, basically we're just going to build a lunar lander. I start off trying the can. The can works actually pretty well as long as you have a command pod to jump into. The can does not like coming back through the atmosphere. So trying some various different parts here. I like Scott Manley has a 3-tank configuration here that I'm going to do, and I like this particular build. The downside is with the fairings nowadays and the way the aerodynamics work, it is a little bit hard to fit inside a fairing. So I'm up for different ideas. If you have any, let me know. I would like to look at those different designs. I'm currently building something for a Mimbus lander, and I'm running into some issues there with trying to get everything balanced out and making sure it's working right. It's not been the easiest to launch. I think I got a little too greedy trying to get 3 Kerbins up there and do a lot of stuff. So I get everything arranged on here, getting some science, making sure everything is working there. I'm trying to get some ladders in here at this point. So that's me looking for ladders. I haven't unlocked them, so that's kind of a waste of time. I thought that the basic ladder unlocked earlier in the tech tree, but I guess it doesn't. Right, lander legs. I choose to use the LT1 struts, landing struts, over the micro for the moon. You can use the micro on the moon, but it's depending on your weight and stuff. They're not quite enough, and they will snap off. Mind you, spoilers. I don't ever need the landing legs because I have a lot of difficulty getting this to land. I'm doing some lights. If you do the color combination like I'm trying to do here, you can make it so that when you're just about landed, the center where you're going to land will end up white because you have red, green, and blue, and then they all kind of overlap. And as you get closer, the center will become white. And it's a really fun little technique to do, and helps you judge distance from the ground. I didn't get them laid out quite right. I never ended up with the little white dot where I was going to land, which also didn't help me. Adding more boosters. More boosters is always a good thing. I think we covered this in the previous one, but this is called spaghetti boosters. I don't know that there's any real life equivalent to this. This is kind of a Kerbal only thing. But yeah, I like it. It works out pretty well. I prefer fuel over solid boosters. I think solid boosters would probably be a little bit more real. The Space Shuttle used solid boosters, and Artemis 2, I believe, used solid boosters as well. And there's all kinds of, I think Saturn V used solid boosters. So solid boosters work really well in the atmosphere. They're really inexpensive to make, and they're pretty nice. Just doing some finishing touches here. I didn't like how the taper was on the fairing, so I added a little bit of the structural plating there so that I can end up more with this kind of nose cone. All right, we're now going up, up, up. I had just dropped those boosters, and this rocket, as you can see, is a wobbly rocket, but I'm able to get it all under control, get up here in the atmosphere, and I'm just doing a standard gravity turn, watching the apoapse distance there, trying to stay around 1 minute from my apoapse, pitching down to accommodate that. I do need to pitch down to about -10 degrees to hold that while still applying full thrust. I actually do a really good job. This is a pretty efficient launch. I ended up with just a little bit of extra fuel in that upper stage, but it came off right when I wanted to. Been working on making sure that I don't leave stages in orbit, so they're either as we're moving off to another planet or something like that. So yeah, making a maneuver node here to plan the circularization. I usually do this by hand, but I wanted to show you all how to do that and get that done and make a little burn here. There we go. And with that complete, we now have a circular orbit. And it's really easy to do it by hand. Just approach your apoapse and take into account for the how slow your engines are. It usually takes about 15 seconds or something with the Terrier engine. Okay, looking for a moon encounter. I think we did this with the lunar flyby, but again, just set it to your right of the screen there, 90 degrees to the where you're going forward. And this is a particularly long burn with that Terrier engine and all that weight. You probably should have done it in 2 burns, but I've got oodles and oodles of fuel and stuff like that. So great. Change it over to the lander portion of that to finish up. I probably needed to make that orbital stage just a little bigger, but again, oodles and oodles of fuel, so I probably need to make the lander smaller, make the second stage bigger. Right, doing some science, making sure to pick up some of that we missed on our lunar flyby. And here we go, we're out to the moon. We're going to set up a maneuver node there and get us into an elliptical orbit. If I did this again, I also am going to adjust the ascending node there so that we can, we want to land in that far side crater right there. The craters are, generally speaking, your best bet for finding level ground, as much level ground as you're going to find. The moon is pretty bad for finding level ground. I really wish the base Kerbal Space Program did Mimas first. Mimas is harder to get to, but it's so much easier to land on. And I think if you understand the physics of that, getting to Mimas, then it's really the better option. Because even your lander can be smaller. You don't need as much delta V, and it's I feel is easier to land on and to do that. Right, so now I've got a circular orbit, and I'm just finding my target here. So yeah, we're gonna land in the far side crater right there, and we've got one more burn, and we're committed to this. So I'm gonna let you go, and thank you, and enjoy the rest of this. It's a pretty long one, so hopefully you stick through all of it. I Yeah, I'm not having much luck at all with this. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Well, I do know what I'm doing wrong. I'm coming in with too much horizontal speed. If you have any horizontal speed, it is really easy to tip over your craft. This particular craft, I tried to make it not be as top heavy, but it just is what it is. It's can be difficult to get your legs out far enough and still keep them in the fairing. So, all right, here we go. I want to go ahead and get rid of all my horizontal speed as much as possible, so we can line up with our landing area. Go ahead and turn on my lights. Yeah, the big thing I'm kicking myself in the butt is I forgot the RCS. We have the monopropellant on. We just needed to put the 4 thrusters on there, and I forgot to do that. So that's causing a lot of difficulty not having those thrusters. I'm going to make sure we get them in the next version for sure. Right. So we're going to fast forward to about 20,000 here. Make sure you're set to terrain. Coming on down. All right. Let's go ahead and lose some more speed. I want to try and make the periaps be right on the top. Okay. Continuing down till we hit about 10,000 meters. Then we'll do another burn. There we go. I want to slow down to around 200 meters per second. Oh, come on. Keep hitting the wrong keys. Continuing to slow down. Just trying to get that right dab on top. Okay, we got about 2,000 meters. I'm looking at the descent to... Don't need to slow down so aggressive. The more aggressive you slow down, the more delta V you're going to use. But I did pack this vehicle with lots of delta V's, so you had plenty of time to, if you just need to float a little bit. Yeah, you can if you end up hopping around. That's okay. All right, we're down to 10 meters. 10 meters per second. Just surveying. We've got our lights on, our gear is out. We should start seeing our lights here soon. Oh, no, nope. Stop that. Stop it now. I want to stay right up top, right here. Yeah, without RCS, this can get interesting. All right, we see our multicolored lights there. Come on. All right, coming in nice and softly. No bounce, no bounce, no whammy, no whammy. Oh, come on, stay up, stay up, stay up, stay up, stay up, stay up. Why are you tipping? Why you gotta be like this? Right, I'm not having much luck with this rocket. Gonna be super honest. Let's see if we can get it rolling enough. Sometimes you can get them rolling, and they'll bounce up. I've done that before. We're getting some pretty good rolls. And, oh! Well, that'll do it too. Now we really can get rolling. No, it doesn't. Doesn't want a quiet reaction wheel. Right. Get all the science. We landed in the east far side crater. Okay. Was the east far side crater one of the ones that we could probably get a moonstone from? I don't remember. And that contract's not getting us the extra details. I think I see one right there. Yep. Oh, so we're gonna go for a little walk here. Whee! Nope. That's just your standard. There's an F12 to turn them on. I'm gonna do that. Nope. Oh, F12? Yeah, the cheat console. Breaking ground, surface features. Oh my goodness, okay. So this is not one of them? But at least now we got bright red arrows pointing towards them. There we go. There's one right there. There we go. Pick up Moonstone. All right, 120 science, yay. And now we can go ahead and plant a flag. Actually, I'm gonna, yeah, nope, can't cancel it. So anyways, we got our flag there. On our way back. Oh, little bounce for Bob. Okay, there we go. All right, so you find yourself in this situation, right? You got a couple options. You can launch a rescue mission. You can also, there is a possibility you can recover from it too. So what I want to do is I want to go save game. This time I'm going to make sure it is something completely different, like save game 2. So then I can still load that one that we came down in on. All right, so if you got a little bump on your rocket, go ahead and get balanced on that. And then you're gonna tip all the way forward. Okay, now you're kind of balanced on that part. You're gonna tip all the way back and press C. There you go. And you're off and going. So let's get situated here. We want to be pointing this way. Yeah, and so we're going to head back. All right, we just need our Ep6 to clear the pit here. I want to get to about 10,000. A little bit more. Sure, we'll go for 15. Sure. There we go. Okay, that's how you can recover a tipped over vehicle. It's key to have that save because sometimes things explode. But yeah, if you can get it rocking just right, you can recover a tipped over vehicle. So let's go ahead and try and get some more science. Let's reset this. Conduct. No, it's just near the moon. I think we already got that one. We'll go ahead and collect the data. It'll tell you if you have duplicates. Yeah, so this was one of them was a duplicate. Okay. Right, so we just need a time acceleration. Get out here to our Apple apps. And then finish circularizing our orbit. There we go. Okay, so now we need to put a node on here somewhere. Add a new control locked. Oh, because we're on the dark side of the moon? Oh, limited crew control. That's right. Okay. So yeah, we're on the dark side of the moon. We are currently out of... We don't have a pilot. There we go. So now we can add a maneuver node. And we want to go home. Well, that's going to space. Let's see if we get it in the right spot. There we go. Our periaps is there. Okay. So we can fine tune that a little bit. Don't have to do as much of a burn. No, that's basically the right spot. Just need more thrust. Come on. It's hard to see the node and the periaps at the same time. Okay. All right, there we go. So in 4 minutes, we need to make a 14-second burn, and we can bring back all this science. One, two, there we go. All right, 30 seconds. We need to get to 7. There we go. 13, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Okay, what's our current periaps? Pretty high still. There we go. Okay. Back home we go. All right. Back to Kerman. We're on the dark side again. All these landings at the wrong time. Okay. I'm going to slow down. Again, I didn't bring a heat shield, so it would be nice not to. Right. Oh, coming in really toasty. Just go ahead and burn up the rest of this fuel. think I may already have that one, but you know, hey. We will have to eject that. Oh, we're going sideways. But okay. Well, I need to eject it. It was a lot of weight that was pulling us down. And we need to start slowing down. You can see the sunrise out there. Wait just for our surface speed. There we go. Can deploy our parachute. Not sure. It looks like we may land in water. Can't tell. Looks like it. Looks like water. Nope, land. Yeah, we're gonna land on the land. I don't think our vessel is that heavy. Why is our parachute phoning it in? If it doesn't slow us down some more, it's gonna tear. Oh, we landed in water. Okay, not too bad. There we go. So that's how you get out to the moon and land on the moon, and then recover if you decide to not bring RCS and blow up your vessel. So anyways, yeah, this is Grakef. Thanks for watching.